What's going on? I'm Dr. Colt. Welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to show you how your thoughts and how you talk to yourself, because you do talk to yourself, are holding you back and preventing you from getting to the places you want to go and doing the things you want to do. So in the performance world, right, in sports, school, business, whatever, people are constantly trying to find the thing that's holding them back, preventing them from getting to the next level, getting what they want. Everybody wants to move up. They want to get better. They want to improve. And usually, when people aren't improving or accomplishing the goals they set, they decide it's things like genetics. Their physical skills, their intelligence level, their social skills, maybe even their looks. They say it's these things that are holding them back. They'll tell you that they can't make a certain team because, they're just not physically gifted enough to be out there. Or they can't pass a class because they're not smart enough to be in that room. Or, they can't get a promotion because the boss doesn't like them or they don't know the right people. These are the reasons we usually hear people, when they fail to get what they want, this is what they usually give us. And usually, when they give us these excuses, people are wrong. It isn't their physical abilities. It isn't their intelligence level. It isn't their social skills or their looks that's holding them back. It's their mind. It's what's going on up here. And more specifically, it's the way they've allowed themselves to think, to talk to themselves, right? Because our thoughts, they come to life through an internal conversation. It's that thinking and that self-talk and the actions they've taken based on that are holding them back. 99% of people who fail to accomplish what they set out to do fail because of their flawed thinking and then the actions they've taken based on that flawed thinking. So it's just your thinking patterns, just your self-talk. Your self-talk ultimately creates your reality, determines your behaviors. Important stuff. So I don't want you to be like everybody else. You don't want to be like everybody else. You don't want to be in the 99% that can't get their thinking right and they screw it up. You want to be in the 1% that nail it and accomplish the things that you set out to do and get yourself to the next level. So to do that, to be in the 1%, to let go of those excuses, to move on, you have to recognize that what's holding you back is not those usual things, right? It's not the physical skills, the intelligence, the social skills. It's what's going on up here, and then you have to make the decision to change your thinking, to change your self-talk today and every day from now on. That's how you accomplish big things. So that's the first step, taking ownership. Understanding that that's what's holding you back. So again, I'm not just here to tell you that, to show you that, hey, your thinking's holding you back. I'm going to show you how to change your thinking and get yourself to the next level. So let's do it. Let's change that thinking. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you why your thinking, your self-talk, is screwed up or low quality. And you're going to hear me say that from now on. Instead of screwed up thinking, I'll refer to it as low quality thinking. That's the same thing. So right now, your thinking is low quality, and it's holding you back because you aren't choosing your thoughts. I know that sounds weird, but that's the truth. You aren't choosing your thoughts. They're just popping into your head, and as they pop up, they come in, and you just roll with them. You go with whatever you hear. So I have right here with me some coins. So you can see these coins right here, I'll get them up close, represent our thoughts. So there's two different types of coins in my hand right now. There's pennies and there's dimes. So pennies represent our low quality thoughts. They're negative, they're destructive, they're self-limiting, they're outside the present moment, and usually they are catastrophized or overgeneralized. So catastrophized just means you turn everything into a catastrophe, right? You don't know the first question on a test, and you're like, that's it, I'm screwed. I don't know any of the answers, I can't pass this class, I'm going to fail out of high school, whatever, right? Catastrophe. Overgeneralized is what it sounds like. Turning everything into a massive generalization. I never do well in sports, I never have before. This always happens to me, I get screwed over every game, blah, 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 right? Overgeneralized. So, these pennies, right? The pennies I have in my hand right here, these negative thoughts, these are the ones that hold us back. These are low quality. So, on the other hand, I have one dime. So dimes are high quality thoughts. Dimes represent the thoughts that are positive, they are productive, they're present moment focused, and they're mastery oriented, which means that they are focused on getting 1% better every single day. Not necessarily on outcomes, just getting 1% better. So these are the ones, the dimes, are the ones that help us move up, accomplish our goals, and get to the next level. We want more dimes than pennies. So we're going to think of our thoughts today as being a handful of coins, or a little stack of coins. I've got a few stacks, but a handful of coins. Some high quality, some low quality, right? Like I said, you may notice that in this little stack right here, I have more pennies than dimes. Specifically, I have 4 pennies and 1 dime per stack. So that's not a mistake. As humans, we're wired for negativity, right? Our brain prefers negativity because it thinks it's going to keep us alive longer. It's going to keep us safe. And through research in neuroscience, we found out that not only do we prefer negativity a little bit, we found out that all of our thoughts throughout the day, so generally we have anywhere between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. It's a lot. 80% of those thoughts are negative and 95% are repetitive. I'm going to say it again. 80% of your thoughts are negative and 95% are repetitive. So this ratio I have right here, if you take 80 out of 100 and reduce it down to a small fraction, it's 4 out of 5. So we have 4 pennies for every 1 dime. That represents the average person's thinking right there. So we're naturally going to have more pennies than dimes. And pennies come back around more often, right? They bring friends, essentially. We love negativity. So I have my coins here, and then I have this cup represents our brain. So as I toss some thoughts in here, we're wired for negativity, right? I'm going to toss these in here. These are our thoughts. So things come up throughout the day. Boom. Stack of coins go in, some thoughts, right? So we have more coins. We're going to see same amount of coins go in. We're not monitoring our thoughts, doing anything about them. So these are just making their way on in, right? More thoughts. More thoughts. More thoughts. A lot of thoughts throughout the day, right? Somewhere between 12,000 and 60,000. So I'm not going to sit here and do this all day, but we've got a good amount of thoughts in our brain here. So we can see, maybe hard to see right there, but you can see when you look in that there's a lot more penny than there is dime. And again, that's natural. We're wired for negativity. But when our brain looks like this, when our thoughts are just making their way in, nothing's stopping them, right? They're just cruising on down. We end up with a lot more negative than we do positive, which turns our internal conversation negative. It's counterproductive, and it gets us outside the present moment. We're irrational. Everything's a catastrophe, overgeneralized. In general, we're just in a low-quality spot. So this is a huge issue because our thoughts, this internal conversation, all these things in here, determine our behavior and how we see the world. So what we say, is thoughts become beliefs and beliefs become actions. That's the golden rule of mental performance. I actually have this written on my whiteboard here. I wrote it here because you should write this down. Take this with you. That is the golden rule of mental performance. Thoughts become beliefs and beliefs become actions. So whatever you think, if you have low quality thoughts, you end up believing low quality things, and then what you do is you consistently churn out low quality performances. You take low quality action, right? And additionally, in addition, to this golden rule, not only do our thoughts influence our beliefs and our actions, but we get more of what we think about. So if we allow our thoughts just to enter our brain like this, and we're constantly thinking about the negatives, we're allowing those to take over, we're going to get more of that. So then instead of just having 80%, maybe it's 85, maybe it's 88, maybe 90% negative. And we're trending in the wrong direction here. So generally we're all out of whack, right? This cup right here, all these coins in here, this represents the average mind, which generally is mediocre, full of mediocrity. It's average. It's not geared towards growth or high performance at all. So great stuff, right? How do we change it? I'm here to give you solutions. How do you battle your biology, change your thinking, change your self-talk to have more high-quality thoughts than low-quality thoughts? How do we shift this from more pennies than dimes to more dimes than pennies? That's the challenge here. So best way to do that, to gear yourself towards success, to get in a position where your thinking is high quality, is you have to choose your thoughts. The way you choose your thoughts is by putting a filter on your brain. So just like a water filter prevents all the bad stuff from getting through and getting into your water, a mental filter prevents the harmful, low-quality stuff from getting into your mind, right? We want high quality, not low quality. So putting a filter on, we just don't let that stuff get through. We stop it where it is and only let the good stuff go through. So what I did here was, our brain was our little jar, so I put a filter on our brain, right? And it's nothing special. You can see right here, it's basically just a piece of paper with a little hole in the top, but this is gonna serve as our filter. So we're gonna do the same thing now. We've got our stacks of coins right here. I've got a few more stacks down here. I'm gonna start putting some of these on there. And I just want you to take note of what happens with the filter. There's a couple important things. This is our first one. These coins are kind of randomly mixed up in here, so we'll just see what happens. So I'm gonna lay them on here. It's a tough one. You kind of got to shake them around. All right, so we had a couple thoughts go through. You can kind of see on top there, I don't want to knock them off, but a couple thoughts stayed on top, right? So we'll see what happens. I'll put these to the side. Same thing, pop these on. All right, a couple go through, a couple stay at the top. I knocked one in. I'll pull one more off the top. Again. Right, ooh, a few of them stayed through, and all the low quality ones stayed on top. So I don't know if you can see that right there. Oops, one fell. But all the pennies stayed on top. So basically, and when they stay on top, I can just grab them and pull them out. So again, I'm not going to sit here and do this for hours, but I wanted to give you a visual for this. So when we first did this, I put a few more thoughts in there than I have now, but it was all pennies and almost no dimes. So this one's increased our ratio a little bit. We kept a few more of the low quality thoughts out. The pennies didn't make it all the way through. And the first thing I want you to notice about this filter, one of the most important things is, when I put them on there, when I previously did this, I just threw in as many thoughts as I wanted. Now they all sit on top. It takes them a moment. And what I can do is I can look at these and decide, okay, if you went in, there's a couple left over, I can pull them right off the top and decide to put them to the side right here. I'm out, right? In fact, I could look at this, put all 4 coins on top, say, ooh, I like the dime. I like the good thought. I'm going to hang on to that for a sec. I'm going to take my bad ones, throw them aside, put the dime back in. The reason that's important is because, like I said earlier, when we're messing this up and we have low quality thinking, we're not choosing our thoughts. Putting a filter on our brain allows us to hold our thoughts for a second, look at them, decide which ones we want to go through and which ones we don't want, pull off the bad ones, send them to the side, and let the good ones go through. So that's the first thing I want you to notice. Whenever this was on, I could pull the pennies off the top. They sat there for a sec. Some of them snuck through. This is never going to be perfect, right? We're always going to have some low quality thoughts. But our ratio improved. Instead of 80%, maybe it's 50%. And if we work hard, if our filter gets stronger, more efficient, more effective, maybe it's 20% negative and 80% positive, right? The filter is critical for this. It's how we change our thinking from low quality to high quality, eventually get high quality beliefs and high quality actions. So here's how you put a filter on your mind and eliminate the low quality thoughts, keep them out, and prioritize the high quality ones. So step 1 is learn to recognize your low quality thoughts and where and when they usually show up. I'm actually going to write this down for you. Let me erase my golden rule here. But recognize your low quality thoughts. Step 1. I'm just going to put recognize. Recognize your low quality thoughts. This is critical, right? So you have to understand how your low quality thoughts sound and where and when they usually show up. So everyone sound different and they show up at different times in different places. Your low quality thoughts, they might be sad, they might be sarcastic, they might be angry, they might show up as comparisons to other people or worries about the future. You have to know what they sound like for you. Be aware of that. You also need to take note of where or when they show up. They come in different places for everyone. It could be certain locations, around certain people, after you fail, before a big game. Again, everyone's got their spots, but you have to be aware of where yours are. If you aren't aware of when, where they show up or how they sound, you can't stop them. Right? So you have to know what they look like first. Second, keep on my whiteboard here. The second thing you need to do to put the filter to work on your mind is you have to decide to be a gatekeeper. Be a gatekeeper. That's number 2. So think about if you've ever been, over to London, you go to Buckingham Palace, they have guards that stand by the gate, right? The purpose of those guards is to watch people and decide who gets to go in and who has to stay out. You have to do the same with your thoughts. You have to look at every thought that comes up, decide whether or not it serves you in the moment, and then decide whether or not you're going to let it in. If it does serve you, it's going to make you better, help you grow, let that thing in. That's who's supposed to be inside. If it doesn't serve you, if it's low quality and it's not going to help you grow or it's going to prevent you from being who you're supposed to be, boot it out. Shut the door in that thing's face. High quality ones come in, low quality stay out. And again, you're never going to be perfect, but the ratio's got to be right. If you can let more high quality in than low quality, you're going to be in a good spot. So again, you have to recognize what they sound like, know when and where they show up, then be prepared to kick the ones out you don't want and let the good ones in. You have to be a gatekeeper. That's how you put the filter to work. And step 3, you prove your commitment to these. I don't need to write this one down. You prove your commitment to these high quality thoughts by taking action immediately. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they try to change their thinking and then don't act based on that thinking. They stay kind of paralyzed. They stay in the same places, the same environments, around the same people, stick to the same routines. You need to adapt. If you're putting a filter on your mind, letting the high quality thoughts in, changing that internal conversation to produce high quality thoughts, beliefs, and actions, you got to change the way you go about your life here in the real world. The actions have to show up with it. So prove your commitment by acting them out. All right, put them to work. The more you act them out, you see the good results, your brain becomes familiar with them, excited about them, it wants more of them, and it becomes a success cycle. So you got to put them to work, all right? So follow these 3 steps, generate some high quality thinking, and take yourself to the next level. All right, so before you leave, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you're an athlete, if you're interested in taking your game to the next level, head to the website. The link's below in the description. And be sure to sign up for the Mind Warrior Academy. It's a live program I'm launching that helps you develop an elite, world-class mental game in just 6 weeks. Until next time.